Had you any clue as to what you were going to find?
Little snippets, you know, because your father used to sort of farm the land before, so we'd seen little bits, but of course a lot was covered in.
Strange pieces of masonry scattered around the land intrigued the couple, but when they investigated one in particular, it literally opened a door to another world.
The ground level was, you know, what's that, 10 foot tall, so there was a rock face here with just the step peeking out underneath. So, of course, curiosity meant we had to find out, was it going up, was it going down, or was it going anywhere?
As a local farmer, John was used to heavy work, but as they uncovered even more unusual stonework and carvings, it became a full-scale excavation project. It took them 4 years, but in that time, they reclaimed this lost paradise. But it's what they discovered underground that's really incredible.
This is like being on an Indiana Jones movie set, except that it's real.
So this one is the Lion Grotto.
Wow!
Beneath the surface is a Victorian grotto of elaborate tunnels and caverns, now repopulated with ferns and palms, just as they would have been almost a century and a half ago.
Another grotto. Fancy finding this.
Grottos were a 19th century obsession. So who was behind this one? It was the work of the Victorian grotto gods Pullum and Son, who even built gardens for the royal family.
And another one. We're probably back in England now.
Pullum and Son's skill was combining real stones with their patented fake stone cement, Pullumite, to create a natural-looking scheme.
The thing is, it doesn't just look like stone. I mean, it actually does feel like stone. When you hit it, you can't tell.
But exactly what their stone was made of remains a mystery.
It's always talked of as a secret recipe. How secret do you reckon it is?
I'm not aware of the secret of the Pullum recipe, but we recreate it by using sand and cement. The clever bit is the sculpting of it once you've laid the cement. I think the talent is definitely with the rock builders who could create different stratas and boulders, and they were hugely skillful, yeah.
They created this kind of magical kingdom of Narnia. I absolutely love it. It's very, very exciting.
During and after the Second World War, gardens up and down the land were given over to food production, and this garden was no different. Except, once it was filled in, no one, till now, bothered to dig it back up again. Alan Gray, a gardening journalist, and his partner, businessman Graham Robeson, have worked tirelessly for nearly 25 years to create a garden that contains, wait for it, not one, but 19 different gardens.
It's over 20 years, under 25. But hey, you know what? Time flies when you're having fun.
When the couple bought the house in Norfolk in 1973, there was no garden, just 2.5 acres of tufted grass. But the blank canvas gave them a chance to vent their creativity. And as they got to work, they realised they complemented each other perfectly.
I think that my basic input into all this was the planting, and Graham's was the architecturality. So he builds a very formal structure, and what do? I come along and soften all the hardness.
And once they got going, there was no stopping them.
Well, we always wanted a good garden, but it was never envisaged that it would be like the way it has grown.
And boy, has it grown. Over time, they've had a chance to buy surrounding land from local farmers, and now it's a whopping 30 acres. But not only is it big, it takes you around the world, from the Mediterranean to the African desert, via royal palaces and the English countryside. And it keeps growing. They added this garden to commemorate the Queen's Diamond Jubilee.
The entrance to the Diamond Jubilee wall garden is through a pair of double doors, over which is a rather triumphal Baroque-looking archway and a series of obelisks and balls. And there was a very mischievous gentleman in the garden the other day, and he came to me and he said, the obelisks and the balls, is there any significance? And I said, well, you know, it is the home of two gentlemen sharing, sir.
All right, so they're clearly not short of a bob or two, but you have to admire the sheer ambition that Graham and Alan have shown here. And that's why they're on my list. They've worked unbelievably hard to create something remarkable. And amazingly, they're still talking to each other.
The great thing is this is a garden of many, many contrasts. I mean, here is you, prickly, thorny,
No.
and perhaps a little bit sharp. And there am I, all soft ebullience with great bouncy, blooming bundles of fun flowering
to
away.
soften my sharp edges.
Meditation guru Buddha Maitreya arrived in the rural village of North Clifton 40 years ago. His house came with a bit of land, so he turned his old pig farm into this. With no horticultural training, Maitreya set about converting 2 flat fields into a fabulous Japanese garden as a sanctuary for him to teach meditation.
You're creating amazing pictures here. Everywhere I look, there's a view, but this is a case of I can't go back to Japan, or I'm not going back to Japan, so I'll bring Japan here.
I miss Japan living in this flat area. Japanese garden, in my sense, is a miniature of the natural landscape of Japan. 85% of Japan is mountain. Mountain, waterfalls, bridges, pond, rivers. I try to make some little Japan here.
Maitreya created this undulating terrain, bringing a bit of his homeland to the flatlands, and then carefully planted and pruned in an unmistakable Japanese style.
I simply love these stepping stones raised up out of the water and leading to a bamboo. Now, I like cleaning the stems of my bamboos, but here the stems have been cleaned halfway, then thinned, and those that come out of the top cleaned again. So you get this kind of tiered effect on this bamboo. Cloud prune trees everywhere, and these wonderful Japanese palms. They're not, you know. That's Leyland cypress.
The longer I look, the more of this Japanese garden seems to be full of quirky Anglo-Japanese surprises.
I love your sort of Mary Poppins umbrella there. There's an ordinary cypress. You've taken all the bottom branches up, so you've got these kind of spokes of an umbrella, and the umbrella on the top. It's beautiful.
This takes 2-3 years to make it as if it's natural.
Always little tiny Japanese shears that you snip away with, is that right?
Not really. I use modern powerful electric shears.
My image, my illusion is shattered.
The reason I picked Maitreya's garden is that it's so inventive. It's a workspace that needs to be calm and in perfect balance. So the Japanese style is perfect. But how Maitreya's achieved it, with little more than hard work and a joyful enthusiasm, feels miraculous.
There is a great stillness. I mean, you stand in any spot, and somehow there's an intensity to the silence in here.
Yes. I'm very grateful to hear such expression, because that's what I teach, that's what everyone should notice. So in that sense, I'm helping people to awaken to this inner beauty, inner peace. That is the essence of my garden.